Join our incredible moms who have mastered the art of balancing motherhood in today's episode of We Time Convo.
My name is Debbie.
This is Liza.
Moms sharing inspiring stories, practical tips, and a few hilarious anecdotes. And it all begins now.
Hello, We Time listeners. Thank you for joining us in today's episode. We will be talking about girls and sports. So I have a special guest today. Her name is Donna Flores. She's my sister. And we're going to be talking about her experience on raising two girls that were actively in sports, competitively, both outside in different leagues as well as in school. So Donna, thank you for joining us today. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Debbie's younger sister. Really happy to be here.
She likes to throw that.
I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And I'm really excited to talk about this topic.
Yes. So, when I was thinking about, having you join, I thought it was really important to kind of hear your perspective raising two girls competitively in sports. Can you tell us a little bit about your two girls and how it came about with them going into sports?
Yes. So I was like any other parent trying to put my daughters into some kind of activity outside of school. We tried dance lessons. We've tried other activities such as maybe chess, but basketball came as an accident. My oldest daughter, Alexis, I can't even remember how old she was, but she was tall. And so I said to myself, okay, she's tall. Let's put her in basketball. We have this younger one. She is 2 years younger than my oldest daughter. So her name is Donna. And we're like, okay, we'll just throw her in there too. Basketball seems like the safest sport. And I realized after a few sessions, it's actually not a very safe sport. I was really wrong about that. I didn't realize there was a lot of physical contact. And the first year was very hard because my girls had to wake up early in the morning to go to practice, especially on weekends.
Was that something that you realized like when you signed them up for? And mind you, you didn't play any sports when you were younger.
Never. My husband actually was really happy to have his girls in sports. We didn't have like the little Alex Jr. And I was all about like, oh, let's put them in like dancing, art class, some kind of like more a creative like activity. And when we tried basketball, it was actually very good. It ended up being like our lives. And with basketball, like I was going to mention how I thought it was a safe sport. It really isn't. My kids woke up in the morning going to practice. In my head, I thought like, I don't even want to wake up in the morning either. But I just encouraged them to get up. It's active. We signed up for it. We paid for it. And
so there was definitely a commitment that came from you and your husband in signing the girls up for sports.
Yes.
And how did the girls initially feel about it? I mean, did you get them like really excited about it or were they hesitant? And the reason why I ask is, basketball, kind of tends to be a male sport. Eventually, obviously, we see more and more females.
Yes.
But at the time, it was still a little new.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yes, I do feel it was a male dominated sport. My girls really were not excited. I'm not too thrilled either. I was not too thrilled in the beginning because like you said, I never played sports. I never paid attention to basketball either. I didn't know the game. My expectation of it was put your kids put my kids in some kind of activity and, just
have fun with it.
Yeah, just have fun. It wasn't about competition.
Well, and that's the thing, right? I think what I'm hearing from you is when you signed up, you didn't actually realize the level of commitment to get two girls into sports,
right? And
what it actually entailed, not just for them, but also for you and your husband, and then you guys as a family unit.
Right. And
so how long, did they actually play in basketball?
I think my oldest daughter was probably in 4th grade. And then my youngest must have been I want to say 2nd. I might be totally wrong. I'm not very good when it comes to...
It was a good, probably solid 10 years of them playing in basketball.
Yes.
It came out to something that was, you were doing it for fun.
Yeah, just for fun. But maybe my husband, he has a different mindset. He's played sports. He watches sports. He was probably more about the competitiveness, about winning. And, for me, I'm like, oh, it's okay if we don't win, just try your best. Oh, we had fun.
Yes. So initially when they started, they weren't really excited about it.
No. And I think it was because it was something new. And of course, for everyone, when you are participating in something new, it can be uncomfortable. The other thing was waking up early in the morning. And
when you say early, what's early?
I remember practices being 8 a.m., 9 a.m.
So you would have to get the girls up early.
Yes.
Get them ready. Make sure they had something to eat.
Yes.
And then go.
Yeah. And then my husband at the time worked over the weekends. And so it would be me being responsible, taking them on time. You can't be late. Yeah, you don't want to be the parent that is taking your kids late to practice or to a game.
So in doing that, when did you start seeing a shift of oh, this is supposed to be just kind of for recreational, to when you actually started looking at it from a oh, maybe they should get into a league? And because that starts
Yes, that was later, but not far off later on. It was, I think when you watch your child play sports in a team, especially, you really do want them to win, right? So, that was maybe after the first year. So the first year was hard, but I really appreciated how my husband talked to my kids about commitment. They wanted to drop out in the middle of the season. And he had said, no, we signed up for this. Just finish it. Once you're done, then let's see if you want to do it again. And after the season, they actually stuck with it because they became friends with their teammates. So I think the bonding with your teammates and with the coaches and with their families, that helped with getting the girls to continue playing sports. Then it was one of those things where you notice hey, my child is actually good at this.
Yes.
Let's keep doing it. Right. And she wasn't just good at it. She started to enjoy it. My younger one, she still didn't like the waking up early. So they're two different personalities. Yeah. And, but what I really liked about my younger one is she pushed through it. We knew it wasn't her favorite, but she loved bonding with her teammates. One thing that helps is after a game or a practice, there were parents or coaches that would organize a little gathering right after, taking the kids out to say Yogurt Land or being invited at their house, and you just spend time with them. So it was a mix of the competitiveness of the game, and then combining it with something personal and having fun with it after. Yeah.
So and that's great that you saw this progression. Now there was, I'm sure, a point in time where you wow, this is something that we're going to take seriously. Because I remember like your schedules were based off their schedules. And your weekends were pretty booked because of games, tournaments. And then, so there was a level of even a more of a commitment other than just showing up to practice in a game.
Right.
So how did that work out?
Yeah, it was challenging, but we got through it. I mean, you know, my husband and I, so Alex and I, we were both working parents. We have other commitments to other things, like besides work, like taking care of things at home, or you know, there would be like, of course, like family parties, birthdays, celebrations. We both have a big family, so it's nonstop. We have friends that are like family, so it's the same thing. In addition to that, there was like.
So because I know, because we do have a lot of activities, a lot of things going on. Did you feel like basketball had to, because it was a commitment?
Yes.
Right. And you saw that the girls enjoyed it, and you saw that, hey, we're spending more time. Did you then had to kind of push or start putting basketball first?
Yes, we had to. My husband and I, of course, there would be days where we would disagree, like, no, this is more important. We have to miss a practice. Oh, sorry, we can't make it to a game. But like I said, my husband really took sports seriously. And I think even my girls, like, they were like, no, I can't miss it. Or if I miss a practice, then I won't be able to start.
Got it.
And in my mind, I'm like, who cares? Right? Who cares? This is like early on. And then when I really saw how serious and dedicated they were, it's like, you have to support them. You have to put your own like interests aside for your child, especially if you know that it's going to be a positive thing for them. Yeah. And it's something that they want. It's positive. They can grow into it. And I realized
that was a
later.
big learning experience for you, because again, this was because you never played sports at all, so you never had this team sport kind of
mentality. No, I thought it was like, so you know, there's a couple of things, right? Like when it comes to school, like my husband was like, yeah, you got to do good in sports, and you know, for me, I'm like, maybe they could do something else in school, like, you know, as they got older. There's so many activities, and my kids, I really feel they have a lot of potential in like everything. They're very talented. So that's what I think.
So that's what I was going to ask you, because at some point you have to make a decision that this is going to be your sport.
Yes.
Right. Because it's kind of very difficult, them juggling different sports.
Right. Yes. So, you know, Ayana had other interests. So Ayana was probably more artsy. Alexis, she's artsy too, but she had other interests in sports as well. She tried track, and it was really hard. It's very difficult. I can't imagine like how other parents who have their child in multiple activities, like how they do it. Like for you, right? Like with Vanessa, she is in like so many activities, and I don't think you forced her into it, right?
No, I did not. I mean, she knew that she needed to keep busy. Yeah. So that was one thing that her, you know, she was aware of. Like, I didn't want her to just go to school, although academics is obviously the top of the list, but I also wanted her to be well-rounded as well. So she knew that, hey, if I'm doing other activities, then I can kind of balance out like my grades. Because if she didn't have activities, it was complete expectation she should have straight A's.
Yes.
But if she had activities to balance out academics, I would be more understanding if she got a B, you know, like something other than an A.
Oh, yes.
So, I mean, I'm reasonable. Like for me, that makes sense to me.
Right.
It doesn't make sense to me if you're not in an activity and you're still struggling with your grades. That should be a full focus.
Yeah.
So I think she learned early on that, you know what, let me balance things around.
Right. Yeah. And I think, you know, so I was more like academics come first. The coaches are that way. So does my husband and my kids, right? But there was always like something drawing them into sports first. No, it's sports first. I can say that as they got older, they got interested into other things. And, we talked about events that would take place and then like which is more of a priority. When my girls got older, there would be like dances at school. There would be like going to a concert, and it fell on the same day as like say a game. And that was really hard because there were times, actually most of the time it's like, sorry, you're not going.
Yep.
Yeah, you're not going. And if they were, it was like very chaotic. Like everything was happening in the same day,
Because you would try to make it work.
And try to make it work. Yes. Yeah. So that's one thing that we did. And there was just always something that was going on. And if there was a time that there was no activity taking place in like during the weekend, if it was canceled, we didn't even know what to do with ourselves. Like we're like, oh wow, like
that was we have a day free.
Yeah, and we just didn't know what to do. Like we would be kind of lost. Like, what should we do today?
Got it. Because it was it is consuming.
Yeah, and my girls played year long. Like year, like the full year of basketball, and with multiple leagues.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now, my question to you is obviously what surprises me is not just the level of commitment from your time, but also financially.
Yes. So financially, yes. It's very interesting because even though your child plays for a public school, there's still costs that comes with it. What I did learn later was the school can help you. Yeah, we didn't know that till like later, but it was
kind of
fine.
More after the fact.
Yeah, but it was fine because we were both working parents. We were.
You had the means.
Yeah, we had the means to support our girls in sports or other activities. But there really are students that do need that help.
And the school offers it. It is available.
Yeah. So then, my thing to kind of share as an awareness is like, if your child wants to be involved or participate in something at school, really check with the school and see how they can help if your child can't, or if you and your child can't financially support it.
Yes, because there's other programs out there that can obviously be supportive of if you need financial help.
Yes.
Now, when we talk about them playing year round, they're in different leagues. How was that? Was that also expensive, or?
Yes, it was costly. And when they were playing in different teams, it was hard because you can't watch all your children at the same time. You can't be there for them. But when you have support from like say another parent or family members or even other team parents and the coaches, like the support is there. So that helps.
So when you say you can't be there, it's just the schedules don't work out.
Yeah. So schedules don't work out.
So you might not be there for a game or a practice, but then you have a support system.
Yes. That
they could take the girls.
Right. Yes. Yeah. You just have to find like, a trusted parent, and to see if they can help with like pickup or drop off.
I thought it was really cool with the whole, you guys doing the basketball thing, because you guys were able to like really go outside of kind of the Bay Area. You were traveling, meeting other groups.
Yes.
Right. From other locations. And I thought that was pretty cool for the girls to be able to see different places.
Yeah. So it was actually really great joining leagues that have travel tournaments. We would travel up and down California. We traveled out of state. We even had tournaments in Hawaii. So that was really fun. And again, this is something that excites the children too. And it was like a mix of like competitiveness and just having fun and just bonding a lot with like their friends. And we would bond with their the parents as well. So yeah, it was like a a family trip, you know, an opportunity to go on a trip together as a family, and then squeeze in like basketball games. Yeah. So that was, and you know, now that my kids don't play sports anymore, there's just a lot of memories that, you know, that we still have with sports. And even for me, it was a chance to bond with like my daughters. I remember going to Portland with Alexis. She was invited to play on a team. We went out of state, just me and her, and she played, you know, at, it was after high school. So yeah, she was able to play as a guest player with like new team members.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah. You know, it was exciting for me as well, but also, you know, a little uncomfortable because I didn't know any of the parents. We even like stayed in the Airbnb together. And, you know, for me, that's like, I don't know anybody here, but we're staying under the same roof, you know. Yeah. But it was actually really fun. It was something that, you know, got us out of our comfort zone. And we were able to make it like a positive opportunity.
Now, thinking back when you originally started with the girls and how they weren't necessarily keen on basketball.
Yes.
But you and your husband, mainly your husband, kind of was a stickler and kind of pushed it.
Yes.
Because I think some of us as parents, as soon as we hear like this, our kids saying, no, we're not interested, they tried it, then, you know, we say, okay, fine, you tried it, you don't like it, let's move on. But your husband was really kind of a stickler on it. And in your case, it turned out really good.
Yes.
Because they actually fell in love with the sport.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, I always think about like there was at one point in time where like social media like was becoming really popular. And then there was the hashtag basketball's life. And, you know, I used to like kind of see it, or, you know, I'd be like, no, it's not really our lives. But then it really was. It really was. Then I started noticing when I'm posting pictures or videos, I'm like hashtagging basketball is life. Yeah.
So it was really like, and I think it took you by surprise.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because even our parents, like they're, you know, we didn't grow up with sports. It's not, I think mom and dad like even said one time, like they don't even remember you playing volleyball. In high school.
Well, I remember distinctly, my parents really actually didn't support. Well, I think they knew that I did. Obviously, they had to sign the paperwork for me to try out and all that good stuff. And when I had to go to a game or something like that. But my parents were either too busy or they just didn't know right about like going.
Yes.
And watching.
Yes.
Right. So I don't even remember them ever watching me play in any of the sports that I did. Or
I don't think I watched you.
but it's crazy because now I think because of that experience, we make a point to show up.
Yes.
For our kids. Because I believe it or not, they are looking for you.
I really think so.
They may not want to hear you, but they want to see you there for sure.
Right. I think it's something that they have on their mind.
Yes.
If it's not during a game, if it's not before the game, I think they have a thought, you know, about it afterwards, you know? And yeah, I mean, but you know, it's really hard because I remember some of Alexis's and Iana's teammates, like their parents would not be able to come and they were at work. I mean, it was really tough. And I think they wanted to be there. They just couldn't. Right. And,
yes.
And, you know, I think back about with my parents, I think, you know, like, I don't think that they were able to just include another like activity like that when we were growing up. Yeah.
No, I completely agree with you. I mean, I think back and I wish they were there, but I understand why they weren't there.
Yes. Yeah.
So I want to make sure that with Vanessa, I show up.
Right.
And when I don't show up, she's aware that I'm not showing up.
Yes.
You know, so it's like, hey, there's a game.
Yeah.
You know, do you want mommy to go?
Right.
Oh, no, you don't need to go to this game. So, we have those discussions, but I really think it is important for them to see you.
Right. And then like as a teen parent, like when you know that another parent is not there, you want to also cheer for their child. And then when you do see that child's parent later, talk to them about like, hey, this is what happened. And, let them feel like they didn't miss out because of work.
Now that you think back, right? Because obviously it's been 10 years. And trust me, I was there seeing it and how it actually was like your family life. I remember going a couple tournaments, and I don't know how you guys stand watching your kids. You just like, you're cheering them on. Like it is a game. Like you are in there. You feel like it's a Super Bowl every single time.
Yes.
Because you're rooting for them. You want them to do good. You want them to win. And then how do you deal with them losing?
Yeah.
Like how was that?
Yeah. I think, for me, like I can get over it. Ayana, I think she was able to get over it. What was hard was my husband can't get over it. Alexis can't get over it. She's my older one. And yeah, they're the two that's very competitive. Ayana, she can let things go pretty easily. But yeah, when it comes to sports, those two, no, like it takes a while. I think what even hurts the most for both of them is if Alexis, her team can win, but if she did not perform good, she takes it very hard. Yeah. I remember, she was very, Alex and I, we remember she was upset with like something that she did. Like she didn't feel like she was playing
100%.
Yeah, playing her game, but her team won, and we're like, "What's wrong?" Yeah.
But she felt like she could have done better.
Yes, but what I really like about these like team activities, like sports activities, like your child, like really builds a lot of skills. Like there's skills where it's all eyes on them. It's like performing, right? And skills of like how to work with a team, how to be coached, how to lead a team. Yeah.
Because I can tell you, experiencing this, you guys were chaotic.
Yes.
Like there was moments where you knew that they had like basketball and you could tell like it was chaotic because they were trying to make everything work, but then it was chaotic because you're getting pulled to different directions.
Yes.
And it wasn't easy.
No,
it was definitely not easy.
And there's times where, it's not like the professional league where you knew the schedule months in advance. No, it's like you just knew like the night before what the time is for the game. So
that's common, right?
Yeah, I feel it's common. I don't know. We lived through it, but it's not all the time. Actually, it depends on the league. Depends on like the different teams.
I guess my point is it wasn't an easy activity to keep.
Oh no, not at all. It's not like so like when I was in piano or my girls,
it was very like
like you just perform. Oh, you have a performance on this date you can prepare for, and then that date's all set. Like you can really plan. But just there were some cases where the schedules would change, and I guess it's kind of like a good thing because life always has surprises, right?
It teaches you to pivot.
Yeah, you just become really flexible. You think strategically, how are we going to handle this? Oh, okay, you take that kid, I take that kid, or find a parent that takes that kid, Yeah, so, yeah.
Now, looking back, because again, 10 years of this, how was it to kind of like, because obviously they've moved on.
Yes.
And they've had, they've decided they weren't going to go professionally.
Right.
Right. Or they didn't have an intent to go professionally. So now, and a lot of it is, once they graduate from high school and things of that sort, how did you guys adjust? Because it was such a part of big part of your life.
Yeah, it was it took a while for us to adjust to like these changes. When, like I said, when we had moments where we'd have a free weekend, we did not know what to do with ourselves. And then, so like after my kids played sports, it was kind of like the same thing. It's like, the kids got older. They didn't want to hang out with us. Then it was just my husband and I, and we're like, what do we do? So we were all figuring out what to do. Ayana got to like actually participate or explore new things. Alexis, I think she played at Foothill College, so she probably thought she can play longer. She loved the sport. But when she realized she was not going to play anymore, I think that's when she had to really figure out, what is my plan? How do I want my future to be? What do I want to do?
Got it.
Yeah. And it probably took her a while, but I really am glad that basketball came to our lives.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, now that you've experienced it, because it was definitely a lot of time, a lot of pain points, a lot of fun,
right?
A lot of financially commitment.
Right.
Taking all of that in, and now like looking back, do you kind of regret the level of effort that you put into it? Or, what would you, do you regret it? And then if you could do it all over again, what would you change?
Yeah. So I think for me, I do wonder, like, if we didn't have basketball as our lives, and, I think I would have pushed like more of the academics. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes I wonder, would my girls be like, involved in something else academically? But really, like, you can't, I don't know. I feel like you can't,
turn back time like that.
Yeah, turn back time. You can't have regrets about whatever. So each thing is like a learning experience. And really, I was really glad about it, because like my girls, I don't know about Ayana, but I know Alexis, when she was growing up as a young kid, she was kind of like me, very timid, very quiet, shy. But for some reason, when she was on the court, she was like a whole different person. And I'm like, who is that? Because that is not me. Uh-huh. Yeah, she was tough. She was brave. Yeah. And she really showed her leadership skills. And then for Ayana, she was, very laid back, but she was able to take direction very well. Mm-hmm. And she was able to perform at a level where we knew that she didn't really find basketball as like an important activity for her, but she was able to focus, prioritize on that. And then, like you'll see her still kind of play it right now, mm-hmm. like when she's with kids, right? So I think she liked basketball. I don't know if she loved it, but it was something that was in her,
Yeah. So I can tell you a distinct memory of this whole basketball, their life. So back a couple years ago, my sister invited me to a workshop, a basketball workshop for the weekend. And when she invited me, I'm like, she's like, hey, Alex can't make it. He has another commitment. We have an extra ticket. Come join us. So it was a workshop for the girls, but also I guess you could also have parents also attend.
Yes.
So I said, sure. I had nothing else going on. Sure. It was time with my sister and my nieces. And she goes, okay, it's going to be a workshop. And it's going to be a Steph Curry workshop. And I'm like, okay, like, I didn't know who Steph Curry was.
Okay, so at first
you can tell this. I had no clue who Steph Curry was.
Okay, so actually, wait, pause real quick. I don't know if this needs to be edited, but okay. But we can keep talking. Yeah. But I think you started off a couple of years ago. Like, I'm not good with time, but it was not a couple of years ago. It was like long.
Like 10 years ago. It was like 10 years ago.
In my head, I was like, which workshop is this?
Okay, so it was like, no, it was like 10 years ago. Okay. She invited me to this workshop and so what I remember, what I can recall of this whole basketball thing was about 10 or so years ago, she invited me to this workshop. And I'm like, it's a basketball workshop. It's going to be for like the weekend. I don't know. She's like, it's going to be fun. It'll be with us, the girls. I have the extra ticket. Let's not put it to waste. And I said, okay, sure. I had nothing going on. And she's like, okay, you'll have, just have fun. And I said, okay, so what's this workshop? Yeah. It's an actual, I thought it was me watching the girls.
No, we participated in it.
So when we went and she's like, okay, it's a Curry, Steph Curry, Del Curry workshop.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, like, she goes, he plays for the Golden State Warriors. And I'm like, okay, I had no clue. Because
she didn't even care.
I didn't even care because the reason being is this was before he blew up.
Yes, it was his first year.
It was like his first year.
Yeah,
it was like his first year. People knew who he was, but I didn't. Mm-hmm. He didn't blow up that way. So we went, and the distinct memory I have was obviously attending the workshop. We saw them, and I was like, oh, he's not as tall as I thought he would be.
Right.
Or as big as he would be.
Yeah.
Right.
He was
because
young. So.
Yeah, he was very young. But what I really remember about this workshop, and it was a memory that I'll never forget. Because you and Alexis were paired up and I was paired up with Ayana. And there was a couple of things that happened. So this to speak to Ayana. So there's this drill that they do where they're competing against team players of who needs to put something in the basket first.
Right.
So there's a drill. And Ayana, being the lovely girl that she is and talking about like how like she's doing it for fun, not competitive.
Right.
She would throw it up and then she would realize one of the kids didn't have the ball enough that she would give the kid a ball. But the drill was whoever got it first would go out. So she would actually, she realized one of the kids wasn't getting the ball. So she gave her ball to the kid. So and the kid made it and she got out.
Yes.
Which obviously spoke to her not being competitive.
Yes. Yeah. Because
it was her having fun. The second thing was because we had to participate. So, we were throwing balls to another, dribbling. And then there was this one exercise where they tell you to dribble the ball between your legs. I looked at Ayana and I said, I'm not doing that. Ayana, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. She goes, Auntie, just try. How are you not going to be able to do it? Of course, because you're not trying. Just try. And so now I know how to do it. So those are the two distinct memories that I have. But it's so funny because basketball was such a big part of their life. But it also, like, I really enjoyed watching the girls play.
Right.
So thank you for inviting me to that because it's such a great memory.
Yeah. So I'm on Facebook and when the Facebook memory comes up of Steph Curry and then my sister's in there and I'm like, you're welcome.
Yes, because we obviously got a picture with Steph Curry.
Yes.
So no, but it was a very, I will never forget that weekend because it was so much fun.
Yeah.
But like I said, I initially was like, I thought we were going to just watch them. Why do I have to play?
Yeah, it was a 2-day workshop and we went there the next day. It was 2 days, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then we had a chance to like have lunch, take pictures. It was so worth it. Yeah. Yes. So like, that's like probably other things that like we actually signed up our kids, every time there was like some kind of basketball event, like we participated in that too. Like it really was our life. Like even though there was, we're done with games, you hear about something about basketball. You're like, hey, let's sign up for this. So yeah.
So when you think about like kids, girls coming up, I mean, what advice would you give parents, mothers to raising girls based on the experience that you had with the basketball?
I guess my advice would be, like there's no like playbook to follow. I think everyone has like different circumstances. You could be a single parent, you could have both parents, or you could have both parents where one parent, doesn't really care for it or is not there to support it. But I think what's really important is use that opportunity to really connect with your child and get involved as much as you can. If you can't be there in person, at least find opportunities to how to get involved after hours, and if you know it's important to them, like be supportive. Somehow be supportive. Let them know that you're there if they need your support. If it's not something that they're interested in, have them. I really like the fact that my husband told my girls to commit to something and not just drop out in the middle of the season or the program. And then
because a lot of people go wow, that was a lot of commitment, both time, financially. That's a lot of commitment. And at the end of the day, they didn't go pro.
Yeah.
So do you feel would you ever say that it was a waste of time?
No, I would not say that. I do. So I know that there are a lot of older kids or young adults that do play sports and they see a future in it. And, it's one of those things where it's not a future for everyone, but let them be prepared for changes. We go through changes. I've gone through changes. And I just see that change is always there.
It's always a constant.
Yeah. And then just figure out how to handle it, especially if it's a change that you did not expect. And, just learn how to move on, how to take those skills from the sports you played to the new thing that you're going to be doing. So I don't think it's a waste. I see that it has helped my husband and I work together. There was a lot of doubts where I'm like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Or he's like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. And, we work together and we kind of see okay, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're seeing. And then we figure out how to raise our kids that way. There's skills that my girls gained from the sport, and I see them using it for today.
Even though they don't even play it anymore.
Yes, I see them using it today. There's even times I'm like, man, I should have played a sport, Maybe I would have been a lot better in a lot of the things that I did,
Yep.
At an early age. So definitely no regrets there. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Donna, for sharing kind of your perspective, your experience in raising girls that plays a sport.
You're welcome.